Hey gang, we're back again at the mold making station here in my shop. And what I've got here right now is the start for the mold of the lower mandibles of the large African wildcat skull that we made the mold of earlier. Okay, essentially this has been put together the same way. I rolled out a couple of layers of clay, cut out channels to lay the mandibles down into, then pressed the mandibles in, brought the layer up and even all the way around, as you can see. Okay. Alright. I then inserted a couple of the little wooden button key pieces, and this time, instead of putting channels around it, which seemed to weaken it because it was so close to the edge, because I like to keep the molds as small as I possibly can. So instead of using channels to lock in as locking points, I simply inserted the top end of an artist paintbrush all the way around and made just a lot of fairly deep locking keys, okay, key receptacles, dimples around the base. What I'm going to do is I've gone and cut and glued together the wooden box for this. Now this wooden box is going to become a permanent fixture for this mold. When the mold halves are put together, the top and the bottom, which I'll show you, the height of this mold will be to about the height of this wooden box here, okay? And then the underside, from here down, will be the depth of the bottom part of the mold box. And as you can see, the wood surround goes all the way from the top to the bottom. Okay? When this is put together for molding, I have this portion here. This goes right here. Alright? And then it's held together with rubber bands, like so. Alright, so all I have left to do in this, I have to go all the way around the inside of the box here, and I have to join it up with clay and seal it up. I'm also going to put clay in the front seams here and make sure that these are sealed up so that there's no silicone leakage or locking of any way. And when we come back to this, I'll have sealed up the ends with clay along the edges, on the back, the front, and the sides. And when we come back, I'll be pouring a silicone rubber into this. I'm going to be using a little different one than the last time. This is going to be a little softer silicone. This is the 7315, PlatSil 7315. It's a Polytek product, and I purchased it from Brick in the Yard Molding Supplies down in Texas. B.I.T.Y, B.I.T.Y. And I've given their information before. So I'm going to get back on the clay work on this, and then we'll be pouring up the mold. Okay, we have our PlatSil 7315 part A and B mixed into a cup. I'm working on two different molds today, so that's why this is just a little bit to help top off the other mold I'm working on, and the remainder will be poured into this lower jaw mold right here. Okay? And when you mix this, you want to make sure you scrape the sides of the container, bring it up from the bottom. Now this has a little longer working time and a much longer demold time, setup time, anywhere from 4 to 6 hours. And it's got about a, I don't know, about a 15-20 minute working time or so, 10-minute working time. A lot longer working time than the 7310, I got to tell you. And this will also have a better elongation, a better stretch than the material that sets up faster. Alrighty, here we go. We go from a pretty decent height and let a thin stream of silicone go down into the mold. It will fill in under the wood button keys. It will fill in the little sockets that have been pushed into the clay, key locking sockets. You just take our time, let the silicone find its own level. Alright, let it find its own level. It will work its way around the entire jaw set for sure. And to be sure that we've got full coverage down into the little pits that are made in here, the little dimples that have been pushed in with the paintbrush handle, I will go in with a sharp tool and be sure to push the silicone all the way down. Now, before I go any further, I want to do that right now. I'm just going to get a little small thin 18 gauge wire, and you can see some of the bubbles coming up. I just want to make sure this goes way down to the bottom in each one of these. Then I'll top off the rest of the mold. We're going to go right up to the top of the wooden box to ensure full coverage. And we went up each seam, each vertical seam of the box was filled right to the top with clay. There we go. There we are. That is one full mold. Now, I'm going to give it a little shot of the 2500 release agent, the Pol-Ease release agent. It's got a little straw tip here just to break up those fine bubbles on the surface. And all you need is just a couple of shots. Not a big deal. A couple of quick shots. That's it. Now this will be allowed to set and cure all in its own time. No added heat, no nothing. This is just going to simply be allowed to cure. It's been about 5.5 hours. Our silicone has set really beautifully, and there is a lot more play in this. You see, a lot more play. So now we turn it over, and we're going to pick the clay out of the bottom side here. Now the front panel, I should say, has been glued to the side panels with the carpenter's, a woodworker's epoxy. The back is simply held in place with the rubber bands. So, going from the rear of the mold, we're going to pull the clay out, lift up. Okay, it looks like this is going to come up in one swell foop instead of one fell swoop. One swell foop. It's nice when this happens. Oh, see, that is sweet. That is really sweet. We've got the mold, and we've got the clay. Very nicely done. Very nicely done. Alright, I'm going to remove any excess clay that may be in here. And I'm also going to go ahead and fill the corners of the box, the vertical corners of the box. I'm going to seal those off with clay. Okay? And I'll do that off camera. When I come back, I will pour the second half of the mold. Whoop, we're going to pop the little wood buttons out first. Very nice. There's one. It's a good clean It's a good clean little buttonhole right there. This is very, very soft compared to the PlatSil 7320 that I used prior. And we have a little clay here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and clay the corners in, and when I come back, I'll be pouring the silicone into the bottom half of the mold. I will apply the separator, the Vaseline separator, and apply the silicone on camera.